Hello everyone, I am Luciana Calvo and I am here with Professor Lynn Hartle for our presentation entitled Developing Intercultural Communicative Competence in a COIL project with pre-service teachers from the USA and Brazil.
Hello, welcome. I'm Dr. Lynn Hartle. Enjoy our presentation.
Our aim is to analyze a COIL project we developed together in the beginning of this year with our students in the courses that we teach at our universities. In a specific way, this presentation will focus on the development of students' intercultural communicative competence through the activities they developed in the international exchange.
Hi. EDGE is the PennState version of COIL. We have adopted many of the principles here for our experiential digital global engagement EDGE at PSU. We promote project-based teaching with other professors across the globe, like we have here with the virtual exchange with Luciana from Brazil. And so we've linked our one Penn State class with her class in Maringá through this exchange program that we've developed based on the COIL project.
We got to know each other through EDGE. We submitted an interest form, and after that, I had access to the professor's list from PSU. There, I saw Lynn's interests. Then I sent an email to the EDGE coordinator to arrange a meeting with Lynn. We had a meeting in September 2021 to talk more about the courses we teach, the activities we develop, and also to talk about our mutual interests.
Luciana and I had a very common interest, culturally responsive teacher education. So we carefully selected tasks for this virtual exchange between our two teacher education classes from these two different countries and regions so we could support these future teachers' culturally responsive educational practices. We took into consideration the culturally sustaining pedagogy of Paris and Alim Sami, and we drew upon these students' static culture and heritage and customs, as well as their evolving culture, to create this beautiful pairing. Because we believe that our future teachers not only need to know and understand what culturally responsive teaching is, but they need to know how to apply it. And what better way is through experiences themselves, these virtual exchange opportunities for students to really reflect and evaluate on their previous held beliefs. When you have to work with someone from another culture, it gives you that opportunity as both a window and a mirror on your own culture.
Here you can find some of the activities for the 7 weeks of the COIL project. These activities included project explanation to our students. In the first week of the project, they were also assigned to one of 4 teams of students. In each team, there were students from WIN and PSU. There were autobiography exchanges and students and professors guided discussion to organize the plans for the inquiry project. The students also worked and interacted in their groups to develop their cross-cultural projects. There were project presentations and peer evaluations and reflections. Besides developing the COIL activities, we also worked on a joint research project to analyze our students' participation in that virtual exchange project. In this presentation, we're going to focus on the intercultural communicative competence developed during this international experience.
These are the key qualities of intercultural communicative competence that we wanted to promote. Motivation, desire first to communicate with others. Context, really understanding the value of code switching and adapting when you're working with someone from another culture. Self and other awareness from those who are different and similar to ourselves. Mindfulness, that ability to reflect and then adapt. Cognitive flexibility, continually supplementing and revising your existing knowledge. And then that tolerance for uncertainty, that really deep understanding that sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it's worth it. And then in our study, we were also looking at both personal, institutional, and technological influences on their virtual experiences, such as what did their personal experiences, what do they bring to this? Maybe they had a family, lots of travel. Maybe their own family speaks a second language. What language practices and translanguaging do they do? It may be in a different dialect as opposed to another language. Knowledge and beliefs about how children should learn and when children should learn a second language. Societal changes. Do they really understand global changes of our economy and our world? What other cultural practices do we want to be thinking about? How about their personal and comfortable skills with technologies so that we could make these exchanges? And what about their collaborative practices with ICT? How much experience did they have? And lastly, but most important, do they feel supported by their university and peers to do this kind of virtual exchange in a safe but reflective environment?
Now we're going to share some of the findings of our project. We analyzed our students' autobiographies and some of the questions of the survey they had to complete at the end of the COIL project. When analyzing the students' introductions from Maringá, we observed that when PSU students commented the introductions, they expressed motivation for their interaction. We also saw that experiences with languages, teaching, and places lived were aspects commented by other colleagues. From these aspects, the one related to languages was the point that most called their attention.
I also coded the autobiographies of the students from Penn State. A very big motivation for interacting. Now, this was a required class, but students love doing something different, something interesting, something valuable, something real, something authentic. And it was different for different students in my class. This has to do with the experiences of language at home, foreign language, places they lived in, family history. Most had immigrant parents from Germany, Italy, Poland, as we do in the United States, but only those who had spouses or parents who directly, parents or spouses who immigrated to the United States, were able to practice that second language. Others just had the 2 years in high school that all U.S. students have to had, and so they had very few words in that language that they could speak. So it really had to do with their experiences and the most recent experiences, how they viewed language and bilingual.
Data from the survey showed that one of the benefits in terms of intercultural relations was the interaction they had with people from different backgrounds. They also mentioned the benefit of getting different perspectives on some topics approached during the project and learning more and getting more insights into some different cultural perspectives and aspects brought by the project. The challenges they identified were related to developing more connections and engagement with each other. Also, one student mentioned the aspect related to communication, that is, to get comfortable with talking to each other.
One other question we had on the survey had to do with their presentation and the presentations of others. What did you learn? What did you find really interesting? And they were very interested in the differences in the bilingual education in the two different countries. As I mentioned before, in the United States, 2 years of high school, maybe you took another language, you kind of took a test, didn't really learn very much. So they were interested in how in Brazil they start younger. And it was interesting, they said, to reflect on the different cultures' approach and how these and to keep these variations in mind, but also so that when they become teachers, they'll realize they have to work with people who are different from themselves, and they'll incorporate these ideas, and they're more receptive and empathetic when students come and their first language is not English. It was also very impressive how they were willing to adjust or change what they had originally thought, and really understand and be sensitive to any stigmatism or of learning foreign languages and educating themselves and coworkers. So they took an advocacy effort as well. I thought that was so brilliant of them to go beyond just what you do, but how you can impact other teachers as well. In a summary from one student who really saw the depth and breadth of what it might be to have that awareness of language and culture as a teacher, is being able to recognize language is not static, valuing culture. She put it all together, respecting other cultures, included prepare your students for society and developing the critical thinking. Make them part of a society of world citizens. We want to conclude to say this was a very enriching experience for professors and students. I will say it was a wonderful collaboration between Dr. Luciana Calvo and I. We hit it off right from the beginning. We understood, we respected each other. We went through a process almost of a year preparing for this. And then our students had an enriching learning experience too. They developed a motivation to interact with other students. They used different platforms and developed students' autonomy and initiative. We let them go a bit and we saw what they could do, and they told us what they could do. And then, of course, developed the intercultural communicative competence through these internationalization at home activities.
Here are some of the selected references that we use for our project. If you have any questions, please contact us. Here you can find our email address. And thank you so much for this opportunity.